Well, live from Jackie Robinson Ballpark in beautiful downtown Daytona Beach, Florida, it's time for another edition of Bethune-Cookman University Baseball on the CatEye Network. Hello and a very warm welcome. My name is Michael Truillo. Happy to have your company. Bryce Hodosky will join me in a little bit as the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats, 2-1 after a opening weekend series win over Stonehill College, plays their first midweek game of the season as they host Florida International, who is coming off an opening weekend sweep over Long Island University. It is a brisk 50 degrees and dropping with heavy winds blowing in from center here at the Jack tonight. And I caught up with head coach Johnny Hernandez to talk about those conditions, how the weekend before went, and what he expects from his team this evening on tonight's edition of the pregame show. I'm here with Coach Johnny Hernandez before the Wildcats take on the Florida International Panthers on a cool and windy Tuesday evening here in Daytona Beach. First, let's talk about the conditions. A beautiful day, other than it's a bit chilly out here.
Yeah, I mean, it's normal for us here at the Jack, especially this time of year. You know, the wind's blowing in. Hopefully it's to our favor today. But again, right, get an opportunity to come out and play against, you know, quality opponent in FIU, and we're looking for our guys to make the most of their opportunities today.
This is a rematch from maybe one of the most exciting games of the season last year. You guys just barely fell short on that comeback. I know most of the team is different, but are the guys that are still here from last year's team raring to go for this one?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, just like FIU, right? That's a whole different ball club under, you know, Rich Witten, who's done a great job, you know, so far, especially opening weekend, you know, with the sweep of LIU. But, you know, at the end of the day, any opportunity we get to come here and play a in-state, you know, non-conference opponent, we're going to make the most of that opportunity. You know, you look back at our game last year, we were, you know, we were down one with second and third with less than 2 outs. In that situation, you want to come through. But at the end of the day, it's a new ball club on both sides, and we're getting ready to get after it. Let's
go back to opening weekend against Stonehill. How would you talk about your team's overall progress over week one?
I mean, always great, right, when you're able to win a series. But I think Saturday, it's not indicative of the characteristics of our ball club. You know, I thought that we started off slow, you know, but it's an opportunity for our guys to grow, right, knowing that any given day that you're out here, you still got to play the game and you have to respect the game, and looking forward to tonight's matchup with FIU. But overall, I thought it was good. You know, some guys were able to get some at-bats. Our pitching looked, you know, pretty good, which is what we expected out of them, and, you know, now we turn the page to tonight to FIU.
The midweek starter is always such an important role on any team. Who do you have going tonight?
Tonight we got Dylan Dondonis. You know, he's a junior college transfer, one of several guys that we have over from FSCJ in Jacksonville. But, you know, he's a guy with experience, just going to give us an opportunity today for outs, and that's all we're looking for him today to do. Just kind of keep us in the ballgame, and we're going to see how far we can go. He's built up to throw maybe 4 or 5 innings tonight's start. But again, you know, he's just got to get it over the plate, you know, win the 1-1 counts, get ahead, first pitch strikes, and give our opportunity for our team to get outs.
Talk about the offense a little bit from this weekend. You know, hit 2 home runs, scored a bunch on Saturday, struggled on Friday. Struggled a little bit on Saturday. But overall, what's your take on the offense?
Really good. You know, I think that this is a little different team than what was built last year. You know, we definitely do have a little bit more pop in the bat, as you guys saw. Even some of the balls were hit hard, you know, over the course of the weekend. But, you know, it's still going down to, you know, us, you know, being gritty, right? You know, making the pitcher work, trying to get to the bullpen as early as possible. But overall, I think we did a pretty good job. If you look at it, I think we averaged 10 runs a game or just shy of that. And that's what we're looking for as we continue to build momentum heading into week 2 of the season.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck tonight.
You got it. Hail Wildcats.
And your lineup tonight for Bethune-Cookman: Daniel Figueroa leads off and plays center. Garrett Sean bats second and plays left. Jorge Gonzalez-Febo is the third baseman batting third. Jose Gonzalez is the designated hitter batting fourth. Manny Sufrain at first base batting fifth. Sergio Rivera, the right fielder, batting sixth. Ramses Cordova gets his first start of the season, bats seventh, and plays shortstop. Irvin Escobar is behind the plate and bats eighth. Colton Olison bats ninth and is at second base. And the starting pitcher for the Wildcats is Dylan Dondonis, making his first start of the season. I now bring in Bryce Hodosky. Bryce, opening weekend for baseball, mostly positive and a little bit negative at the end there.
Yeah, Mike, I actually think going over everything in the past now, it was really a perfect weekend for the program in a lot of different ways, because you saw a glimpse of what the team can be when it's at its best, when everything is clicking on the mound, when everything is clicking at the plate, defensively across the board. You also saw what happens when the team maybe is not as prepared as they should be, maybe comes into a game a little lacking where their prep should be. Overall, it's an exciting place to be if you're the Wildcats.
Let's go down to the field for the national anthem.
Of our national anthem.
The starting lineup for the FIU Panthers tonight, reigning Conference USA. Hitter of the week, Brylan West leads off and plays third. Batting second is the right fielder, Jeff Liquori. Batting third, the designated hitter, Rain Guida. Batting fourth, the center fielder, Armando Becerra. Batting fifth, the shortstop, number 1, Alex Ulloa. Batting sixth and playing left field, Hector Candelas. Batting seventh, the catcher, Ronnie Medina. Batting eighth, the first baseman, Adrian Figueroa. And batting ninth is Roylan Quevedo, and he plays second base. And when the Panthers take the mound in the bottom of the first, their starting pitcher will be Richie Pena. And the power from this order, Bryce, starts right at the very top. Brylan West, reigning Conference USA hitter of the week, 10 hits in his first 12 at-bats, including 9 for 9 in a doubleheader on Saturday.
Yeah, FIU was very fortunate last weekend, went up against an LIU team and just pounded the ball. And they're really lopsided scores. They're riding high. Wildcats have some stuff to build on for the weekend. It's an interesting combination, and this FIU team has had this program's number for going on 10 games now, but last year we saw the closest the Wildcats have gotten in that span. It was one of the most thrilling games we saw at the Jack last year, coming within just a run in the 9th inning. So the Wildcats looking to steal a midweeker early. You know, they're always tough going against these big-time programs, even one like FIU that struggled for a handful of years overall. But make no mistake about it, the Wildcats want this one.
Yeah, FIU, against LIU over the weekend, 6-4 on Friday, and then a Saturday doubleheader of 20-7 and 19-4. The bats just unleashed for the Panthers, who last year, in their first year under their new head coach, went 21-34 and 8-22 in the Conference USA standings. They were picked to finish second to last, 8th in Conference USA. Dallas Baptist picked to finish first in that conference and repeat as conference champions. Wildcats, of course, picks to finish second in the SWAC East behind Alabama State, and they are playing tonight. So is most of the rest of the conference, as the first Tuesday non-conference day gets underway around the country. Brylan West leads off. Dodonis puts a first pitch ball just outside, and we are underway. West, 8 runs on 10 hits, 3 doubles, 2 homers, and 9 runs batted in his first 3 games, and he swings and misses at a high fastball, 1-1. Sparse crowd out here at the Jack tonight. Of course, it's a little cooler than what we would expect for this time of year. There's a strike as he runs one in on the outside corner, 1-2. We're still down here on the concourse behind home plate. Press box still under construction here at Jackie Robinson Ballpark. We've got our winter coats out as that ball is batted back to the backstop, and it holds 1-2.
Of course, we certainly appreciate our spot down here a little more now that we had to go through Saturday. We were out in left field trying to do the same thing we're doing now, so it's certainly nice to be back here.
Dodonis is 1-2. It's in the air, right side, and that will leave the yard right on to the roof of where we were on Saturday. Dylan Dodonis is the starting pitcher tonight. He's one of the many Wildcats that have come over from Florida State College at Jacksonville. 31 appearances, 22 starts with a 6.55 ERA, 80 walks, 84 strikeouts for the Blue Wave. And that one's fouled straight back. West not going away, and this is going to be his third straight pitch with a 1-2 count. And that's what we can expect from a team like FIU. They're not going to swing at wild pitches. They're not going to go away and at bats. That one, a breaking ball hit high in the air down the right field line. Moving over is Figueroa, and he watches that fly into the bullpen and out of play, and West will go back up to the plate again.
And in these midweek contests throughout the season, these are the kind of ABs and the kind of approach at the plate that I think any program wants to see from their guys. Just get in there and battle. You know, at the end of the day, not super consequential in the grand scheme of things, but making the pitcher work, getting to that bullpen, putting some runs on the board, kind of working on maybe your biggest things you needed from the weekend. It's all what you look for in a midweeker.
Tap back to the screen again, just off the end of the bat from West. Dodonis certainly working in this opening AB of the ball game. As another tapper back to the play, back to the screen. Wildcats in the maroon with gold trim and numbers. FIU in the road gray with the navy and gold. Once again, the 1-2. That one's hit in the air to center field. Moving back Figueroa, and it drops in front of him. That wind is blowing way hard in from center. And it looked like Figueroa just couldn't judge that ball as it fell down.
Yeah, it really was a fantastic AB right there. That the wind absolutely killed it in the air, which is kind of why you saw that misplay out in center from Figueroa, kind of stunned when it fell back in front of him. But man, to work to count that, put ball to bat, such great hard contact, outstanding start for FIU.
So the leadoff man is on, and here is Jeff Liquari, the right fielder, a left-hander, pushes one foul, and it's 0-1. Liquari in the opening weekend, 5 runs on 6 hits, a double, 2 homers, and 7 RBI. This team mashed 8 home runs in the first 3 games of the year. 0-1 in the dirt, and it's 1-1. It's the kind of power-hitting team, Bryce, that the Wildcats are not faced with unless you're in these non-conference matchups.
Teams like Florida State, get a good glimpse of that.
The 1-1, big cut and miss. Had a breaking ball that tailed away from the lefty, and it's 1-2.
And make no mistake about it, just because you're the pitcher that's tabbed with doing the midweek duty doesn't necessarily mean the Wildcats don't expect big things. It's far more than just kind of a cleanup opportunity. Marcos Gamboa was a midweeker last year. Nolan Santos started in the midweek.
Hit off the end of the bat down the left field line. Long run for Chun. Garrett grabs it and fires in to keep West at first, and there's one down.
It'll be interesting to see
Now batting for FIU.
who kind of settles into that midweek spot early on in the season. If it's Dodonis, that's great. If he outperforms that midweek spot, always challenging for a weekend job.
Here's Ryan Guida. In 10 at-bats, he's gotten 3 runs on 3 hits, a double, a homer, and 5 RBIs. And the pitch from Dodonis gets by Escobar to the backstop, and the wild pitch will put Brylan West on second.
Just yanked that one a little bit. You could see it right out of his hand. He knew it was sailing wide. It's going to be interesting to see how the guys on both sides really navigate the weather tonight. It's not the kind of ball they're used to playing. We saw it a lot in kind of the early scrimmages back in the fall. Guys, especially the Hialeah boys, really feeling it.
FIU, of course, from Miami. One's golfed foul, and it's 1-1. We were talking before the game, and you mentioned that, you know, in some of the fall scrimmages, they were bundled up.
You'd think they'd never been in cold in their lives the way some of these guys operate.
The 1-1, breaking ball chopped to third, fielded by Fabo across the diamond in time, and there's 2 away.
Nice little rebound from Dudones following the AB to start this one in that leadoff spot.
And like the rest of the Wildcats staff, they don't really have a pure strikeout guy like they did last year in Nolan Santos. Going to be a lot of balls in play. A lot of times the defense is going to have to do the job. Pitcher's job is to not walk the batters. That one's golfed into center field. Moving left is Figueroa. He's tracking it, and he makes the catch. That was first pitch swinging from Armando Becerra. And he flies out to center. No runs, 1 hit, 1 left. And we go to the bottom of the first. FIU nothing. Wildcats coming to bat. This is Bethune-Cookman University Baseball on the CatEye Network. We go to the bottom of the first. Starting pitcher tonight for FIU is a senior Richie Pena out of Coral Springs. Spent his entire collegiate career at FIU. Prepped at ESB Academy in South Florida. Last year in 42 innings, he had 35 strikeouts, finished with a 2-0 record in 16 appearances. This is, of course, his first appearance of the season. 38 innings pitched last year. And he posted an ERA of 6.34. And the Wildcats will send Daniel Figueroa to the plate to lead off the first. Figueroa in the opening series, 1 run on 2 hits with a double on an RBI. As the top of the Wildcats order kind of struggled a little bit this weekend, even though the Wildcats put good offensive numbers up overall.
Yeah, it's about the clutch hitting, but Wildcats lineup is deep, so it's all right if certain spots of it have kind of a weekend off, a couple days off, as long as there's somebody else to pick you up. We saw a little bit of that last weekend.
Breaking ball outside and low to the lefty. Righty to lefty matchups tend to go in on the hands to the lefty. Squaring to bunt and fouling it into the dirt is Figueroa in the count 1-1, trying to catch out the corner infield.
We saw probably more attempts for a bunt for a base hit in the last weekend than we had seen in a handful of weekends towards the end of the year last year.
Pena deals. Hit in the air, that's curving towards left center. Moving over is Cedeñas. Or Candelas, excuse me, and he makes the catch, and there's 1 away.
You know, we saw it from Figueroa to end the last inning, and there's another play right there. Those are a lot tougher they look with how windy it is out here, especially with a ball like that tailing so hard out into left field. Just a nice play.
Well, here's someone who had a fantastic opening weekend. Garrett Chun, a run on 5 hits, a triple, and 6 RBI. And he watches the first one low, 1-0. Garrett Chun is everything you want in a player that returns from a squad that almost won a championship last year.
And you need a good balance of that with a lot of the newcomers, for sure.
Swings and foul tips it into the glove, 1-1.
You know, a lot of these guys that come in from FSCJ or otherwise, they've won at their respective levels, but it doesn't really prepare you in the same way that it does when you come here to D1 and into the SWAC.
1-1, fastball strike outside corner. This is a guy in Richie Pena last year. He was primarily thrown in against some of the high major teams. The ball goes low. It's the reason for the high ERA. He's never had an ERA below 630.
And really the best you can ask for from midweek guys is always just don't walk guys. If you're going out there and you're letting the defense do its job, you've really won on midweek more often than not.
The 2-2. Chun checks his swing. The ball is low and inside at the knees, and the count runs full.
You could certainly make the case that in any collegiate game, you've won most of the battle if you're just not walking guys.
There's a strike 3 call as Chun is punched out, fastball outside and low. And now here's 2 outs for Jorge Gonzalez-Febo. Febo had probably the loudest moment of the opening weekend as he took the second pitch he saw at the collegiate level deep to left field for a home run. And he swings and fouls it off of his foot, and it's 0-1.
I think his biggest concern following the rest of the weekend is, sure, there was some more hard contact after the fact, but you got to be careful not to get too swing happy with those uppercut swings, shooting for the fences, especially on a night like this with the wind blowing in so hard.
That one got away from Pena, and he throws it outside, 1-1. That was the only hit of the weekend for Febo, was the home run. After that, nothing. And made some hard contact, had some loud outs, but outs nonetheless. And he swings and misses at a fastball in the dirt, 1-2.
2 swings in this AB have, again, kind of been that uppercut, traditional modern baseball style, launch angle swing. If you're going to evolve into a complete hitter, especially at this level, got to be know when to turn that off.
Catcher sets up outside, and it's strike 3 called. Febo sits down, and the Wildcats go 1-2-3 with 2 reverse Ks from Pena. And we go to the second inning. No score here at the Jack between the Panthers and the Wildcats right here on the CatEye Network. To the second we go, no score between the Wildcats and the FIU Panthers. Alex Ulloa leads off. Ulloa in the opening weekend, 11 at-bats, 7 runs on 6 hits with 2 homers and 7 RBIs. One of 3 players that went yard twice in a 3-game set with LIU. First pitch from Dodonis, chopped foul outside of third. Would have been a tough play for Febo. Brylan West and Jeff LeQuarrie, also the players that hit 2 home runs in the opening series. The 0-1 from Dodonis, swing and chop towards second. Fielded by Olesen across to Manny Soufrain, a combo we saw many a time last year, and there's one away.
And Soufrain was another guy who was outstanding in the field this last weekend. Not to mention, was really solid at the plate in the second 2 games of the series. That's a guy that they really would love to just take that job and not let it go for the rest of the year, especially a guy after platooning for a couple years to this point.
Here is Hector Candelas, who made the out on the only ball put in play by the Wildcats in the bottom of the first. Candelas batted 1,000, but only played in one of the games. Waves at a fastball up and away, 1-1. No runs on, 1 hit for Hector Candelas. And he golfs one into left center. Moving back, Chun, track, wall. He slides and he makes the catch while tumbling head over heels.
And again, you can't take a play like that for granted with the ball pushing in so hard. Wind has kind of been all over the place, gusty, and just to stay locked in, make that play on the run. Super hard contact from the Panthers early in this game. But man, what a play.
That's a tremendous catch by Chun. With the wind blowing here, there, and everywhere. First pitch outside, a ball 1 to Ronnie Medina, the catcher. Medina, again, only played 1 game over the weekend, had 4 plate appearances. A run on 1 hit. And he hits this one hard to left. Chun coming in, makes the catch. And 1, 2, 3 go the Panthers. Garrett Chun's got a lot of action out there in left field. We head to the bottom of the second. No runs, no hits, no one left for the Panthers, and it's no score here on the CatEye Network. Bottom of the second we go here from the Jacket, a scoreless game between FIU and BCU. And Bryce, it's really telling when the one player that's gone on base so far through an inning and a half did so via the wind blowing the ball away from the fielder.
It's going to be one of those kind of nights, maybe one that kind of turns into who can grind it out more. Maybe you will see some more bunts for base hits, but that's where you prioritize not walking guys if you're on the mound. You can't give the offense opportunities, when otherwise it's going to be a miserable night to get them.
Ball inside, first pitch to Jose Gonzalez, who hit the other home run for the Wildcats over the weekend. 3 runs on 2 hits with the homer. Breaking ball doesn't catch the inside corner, 2-0. The wind blowing steadily in from center off the water. The 2-0 from Pena spiked into the ground, 3-0. So with a team with as much speed as BCU has, we may see them playing some small ball. Middle infielders with their heels on the grass, and that's a 4-pitch walk for Jose Gonzalez, and that's the first Wildcat base runner of the evening.
And this is how you're going to win a ball game like this. You got to grind it out. Well, you may see some steals here in this game. I'm not sure if necessarily Gonzalez is the one to do it right here, but we saw a lot of base running, stuff like that over the weekend. So especially the later it gets into this game, look for more and more opportunities for the Wildcats to steal some bases and put some guys in scoring position.
Here's Manny Soufrain, who had a terrific weekend at the plate. Only played on the second 2 games after taking over first base from Gonzalez Febo. First pitch from Pena. Outside ball 1. Soufrain in 5 at-bats, 4 runs on 3 hits with a double and 2 RBIs. He was also walked 3 times over 2 games. With Gonzalez on first. Soufrain swings through the breaking ball. In between innings, Pena was out there throwing that wicked slider that just dips right at the end. Looks almost like a change until it moves about a foot before the plate. One fouled away into the bleachers. Soufrain's another one of those players that got hot come tournament time last year. Only played really as a starter the last 2 weeks of the season leading into the playoffs and then throughout the SWAC tournament as well.
One of the few guys that has right field power for this Wildcats team, which is really important against some of the arms you'll see later in the season.
1-2, outside 2-2. You got to remember, the only reference we have really is the jack, where it feels like the outfield expands forever. 400 to straightaway center. Lots of college parks aren't like that. 2-2. Missed the breaking ball outside, 3-2.
It's just rare at this level to find a really solid lefty bat like this. We've got a righty-heavy lineup tonight. All the other guys, Garrett Chun, who doesn't necessarily have that power. So Soufrain has a lot of really great assets as a hitter that this Wildcats team can play to, especially if he can really take that job this season.
Soufrain fouls it straight back as Gonzalez was taken off. Statement of intent from Coach Hernandez over at third base. I think the Wildcats will take any opportunities they can to move runners up tonight.
I think we very well may see that from both sides, especially if this wind doesn't show any signs of dying down. It's just going to be so tough to find any gappers.
Fakes the full count delivery, checks over to first. Gonzalez slide back in. Soufrain, one of the bigger guys on this roster, listed at 6'3", 200, and he takes a pitch outside. And Pena visibly frustrated with himself as he misses his spot, and it's 2 straight walks for the Cats to start the inning.
A guy who walked 3 times over the weekend. Soufrain just got a great eye at the plate. And although he has that power, he's not the guy to swing for the fences every time. He's very, very patient, has been his whole career, but we've seen it really start solid for BCU to open this year.
Pitching coach Karsten Whiteson is out talking to his pitcher, probably just trying to calm him down. Whiteson, a new addition to this FIU staff after coming over from South Florida, where he was for a long time. But he played his college career at the University of Florida, a 2-time All-American with the Gators, now moving up the coaching ranks as well. And now here's Sergio Rivera, another guy that had a great opening weekend. Batted .500 in 10 at-bats, 4 runs on 5 hits, a triple, and 3 RBIs.
Just the guy who got on base.
And he always seemed to come up in big spots like this. 2 on, nobody out, bottom of the second at a scoreless game. Pitch. Squares to bunt, in the air, left side foul. And if you want me to tell a story from this weekend, there may not be a crazier one than the 2 RBIs he got in game 2 of the series, where he bunted one down the third base line. The third baseman sailed the throw into the bullpen, and the Wildcats got 2 runs out of it.
Talk about being up in big spots. Guy also found his way there in the bottom of the 9th on Saturday.
He squares to bunt again, straight up in the air, and the catcher couldn't find it. It was way to the backstop, and the count 0-2.
Of course, in that Saturday game, we saw a bit of a strange play. It was tough to see from our angle out in the outfield, but the ball was ultimately ruled a foul off of the knob of his bat, but they had assumed, the Wildcats had assumed.
Would have been ball 4 and tie the game, and the Wildcats never got another chance.
Couldn't capitalize from there, but yeah, a guy who's found his way in big, big spots
We go to the fourth inning here at Jackie Robinson Ballpark. Apologies about the audio issues. To make do with what the universe has given us as Ryan Guida fouls it off. Guida grounded out to third his first time up. He's a senior from Fort Lauderdale and a transfer from Indian River State, so he will be quite familiar with a couple of guys on the Wildcats roster. Breaking ball slider just misses outside the count, 2-2. Dylan Dudonis still on the hill for the Wildcats. Nobody has gone over to the BCU bullpen at all. He's looked pretty calm through the first 3 innings. Breaking ball just tapped back to the screen.
It's pitch number 40 for him so far. He's been efficient. The walk last inning didn't hurt him. Done what he needed to do. Not gotten the strikeouts. None yet so far, but he's let his defense do work. They've had to work hard, but they've done a good job.
2-2, over-rotated it and misses outside. It's 3-2. You know as well as I do with college pitching, and it doesn't matter what level you're at. It can go south pretty quickly if someone's arm gets a little tired. That one fouled away. Count holds full.
Got bailed out a little bit there.
How many times did we talk about that in the SWAC playoffs last year? When it looked like the Wildcats were down and out, and then here comes the bullpen. And that one's grounded up the middle, out of the reach of Cordova, and it's a leadoff single for Guida.
Yeah, especially on these midweek nights. A lot of times you see guys that don't normally touch the ball during the weekend, especially when you get into conference play. Right now, we're still trying to kind of sort out who's who of that bullpen, who's who of the starting rotation. Nothing's set in stone yet. But yeah, by the time you get to the end of the season, kind of those inconsequential midweek games, guys are basically just using it as a way to get some more reps. You don't see those same arms, and it can be anybody trotting out of that pen by the time you get into the late innings.
Here's Armando Becerra, flew out to center field, and this time he drives one deep to right field. Going back, Rivera, track, wall. It is caught by Rivera with his back pressed against the wall. Again, the wind saves a homer, and that's probably the third or fourth time that's happened tonight.
Yeah, it's tough to see. It might have been better if we had a look at it from our normal perch up top in the press box and see just how much these balls are dying in the air. But man, they've been crushed. That ball off the bat was absolutely crushed. Thought we'd finally see all that hard contact rewarded, but still going to have to go back empty.
I 100% thought that was in the parking lot. But it stayed in the yard, and Rivera just makes it a loud out. Here's Alex Ulloa. First pitch to him, a strike inside. Ulloa grounded out to Olison at second his first time. As he's got Ryan Guida on first and one out here in the top of the fourth. Dudonis. Low, slow curve, tomahawk to left, and it's a base hit to a board for FIU.
Yeah, 2 straight curve balls to open that AB right there. The first one kind of ticked the top of the zone. Second one, you saw that Lola had a kind of eye for it, caught up with it, timed it up, put that one into left field.
Here's Hector Candelas. He's gotten a lot of work out there in left field on the defensive side, and he flied out to his opposite number, Garrett Chun, in his only plate appearance back in the second. First pitch from Dudonis. Fastball low. This is the toughest situation the Wildcats have found themselves in on defense so far tonight. Haven't had more than one base runner in an inning. But dealt with a lot of multi-base runner innings against Stonehill. Breaking ball catches the outside corner, 1-1. And mostly, especially during the doubleheader on Friday, held their own in that regard.
It's tough because Dudonis has gotten his outs primarily by the fly ball. So the double play is going to be a tough one to come by, the way that FIU's been swinging the bats early here.
Check swing, yes swing, and there's 2 strikes.
Now we'll see what he goes to for maybe that put-out pitch. This is a big spot. Trying to figure out, maybe he tries to go the curve, although it's hurt him a little bit earlier in this inning. Maybe tries an elevated fastball. It'll be interesting to see what he goes for here.
He goes for the curve and gets a massive swing and miss from Candelas.
And that was, I think, the best curve we've seen from Dudonis to start this game. Now, it was a ball, but it did a nice job of starting off over the plate, cutting inside in on Candelas' hands, until tied him up a little bit at the plate. That was a fantastic put-away pitch. If he's got that in his bag and he can fool guys with the fastball, you're looking at a really solid arm in Dudonis.
Here's Roddy Medina, flied out to left his first time. And he bats with 2 on, 2 out. He goes for the curveball again that ends up in the dirt. Nice backstop job by Escobar. That was the first K of the day for Dudonis. He's gotten all of his outs via the defense. Other than that, the Wildcats not really a strikeout throwing staff this year. They will rely mostly on those pitch to contact, which every at-bat bar 2 so far for FIU has been put in play. The 2-0, down the middle, check swing, fouled it off back to the backstop, and Ronnie Medina is irate with himself because he knows he could have put that one in play. Just second-guessed himself a little bit. Gives Dudonis a way back into this AB, the 2-1. Inside, jammed him up. Slow roller toward first. Sufrain flips to the covering Dudonis, and the Wildcats get out of the jam. No runs, 2 hits, 2 left, and we go to the bottom of the 4th. Wildcats maintain their 3-0 lead. Bottom 4 we go here at the Jacket. A new pitcher on the hill for FIU, and Sergio Rivera will be the Wildcat to break him in. The new pitcher is Jaden Bishop, a junior from Zephyr Hills, Florida, making his first ever FIU appearance after playing his first 2 college seasons at Polk State College out in Polk County. That's for you, Eric, if you're listening.
Well, if he gets to have that, Zephyr Hills about 10 minutes from my place back home in Tampa side of the state.
First 2 pitches are both fastballs low towards the shoelaces of Rivera. Rivera popped out his first time up in the second, but He did move the runners over and allow the single by Ramses Cordova to score a run. So I think he was instrumental in setting up the 3-run inning for the Wildcats back in the second. He's taken 3 straight balls low on fastballs from Jaden Bishop. And the lefty winds and fires. Ball 4 inside, and a leadoff walk for Sergio Rivera. So last 3 innings, the Wildcats have put the leadoff man on.
Not really a competitive at bat there. Rivera could pretty much keep the bat glued to his shoulders. You start to wonder how much the cold affects guys like this who, just coming in, trying to stay warm best you can. Just yank the balls a little bit.
Here is Cordova. Has a big old looping breaking ball upstairs and in ball 1. Cordova had an RBI single back in the second and then scored himself on the Escobar single. And the 1-0. Inside 2-0. Bishop hasn't thrown a strike yet.
Yeah, it's been all on the inside of those right-handed hitters. Got to get something out more towards the middle of the plate. That curveball would have been nice if it was on the outside of the plate, touching that outside corner, but just swung way too far in on the hands.
That one, a nice frame job by Medina behind the plate to get the strike call.
Another ball low and inside. Not sure if I'd call that one a strike, but got his first call of the appearance thus far.
That one, again, grazes the shoe tops of Cordova, and it's 3-1. It's a big spot for Bishop as well. You elevated to the Division I level out of a junior college. It's always a little bit nerve-wracking making your first start, even if it is, on the road against a low major team. That one almost hit him, and it's ball 4, 2 straight walks, and that's exactly how the 3rd inning started for Bethune-Cookman, an inning where they scored 2 runs.
If you're the Wildcats, you can't let off the gas here. You can't just play to maintain the lead. You have to stay aggressive. Now, maybe being aggressive in this point isn't swinging on the first pitch when they've all been inside like that. But offensively, the mentality needs to stay the same, especially after it's been such a long time, really, since the Wildcats have stolen one of these midweek games, playing up to a new opponent. This is the best chance they've had in a couple of years, really. So you want to close this one out. It's a really feel-good win to start the season.
Wildcats only won 1 midweeker last year. They took down Stetson 10-6 in this building. There's already somebody lazily throwing in the FIU bullpen. And there's only been 10 pitches. Here's Irvin Escobar, RBI single. His first time up in the second to score Ramses Cordova. And the first pitch to him, he squares to bunt, pulls it back, and the ball goes low. And it's not for lack of velocity on the fastball for Bishop. He's riding it up there high 80s.
Seems like the release point a little later than it should be. And they've set up in a variety of different spots. Going high and away here. Still creeps inside again.
And it's a 2-0 count. And if you're Coach Hernandez over there at third base, you got to be putting the brakes on here. You don't swing unless he gives you something juicy. And we have time as Escobar. Did he lose a contact? I think that's what he's saying.
It's either that or I'm guessing it's something in his eye by the way he looked. Because if it was a contact, I'm not sure you can really step back in the box here.
Yeah, maybe just a little mote of dust in his eye.
If you lost the contact against this arm, I might just sit on it because you probably won't have to swing the bat.
The 2-0 swings and fouls it straight back here, and it's 2-1. He did get a good
flinch of the night.
Yeah, he got a good one to hit though. That was right down the middle.
Yeah, Irv is the one from last year's contest that sent one dead center field with the bases loaded, down a run, but just held up in the wind.
Squares to bunt again. It's a beauty down the third base line. Fielded by West. He throws to first, and the throw gets away. It's happened again. Rivera scores from second. Rounding third and coming home is Cordova. He will score standing up as Escobar goes all the way to third. It's 5-0 Maroon and Gold.
That was a really interesting play. West had the ball, play seemed completely under control, went to throw it, but kind of double pumped. And then the second time he threw it, I almost think that he caught Figueroa off guard a little bit with the throw, and it came in a little hotter than he was expecting, and then of course sailed all the way into the visitor bullpen out there. That's the kind of defensive mistake that is just inexcusable. I mean, West had all the time in the world to make the play. Irvin's not slow by any means, but had your opportunity and just threw it away.
First pitch, a breaking ball. That one finds the zone for Colton Olson. That was a carbon copy of the play against Stonehill, the middle game on Friday night, with the Wildcats only up by 2. Olson punches it foul to the left-hand side, 0-2. And Sergio Rivera was at the plate with runners on first and second, and he bunted one down the third base line, and the exact same thing happened. The Stonehill third baseman charged it, threw it into the bullpen, and all chaos broke loose. Olson chops this one to short. Ulloa makes the play, one down. Unfortunately, that did not leave the infield, so Escobar remains on third. And that brings up the top of the order for Daniel Figueroa. But it's good to see that the Wildcats can continue putting up the offensive numbers that they did over the weekend against a team that is, preseason rankings miles ahead of where Stonehill was. But again, this is only the 4th inning. High in the air, first base side, tracking Figueroa over towards the corner, and he made the catch, and now they've got Escobar in a rundown at third. He will be out, and the inning is over.
Number 33.
Rounding third and coming home is Figueroa. The relay to the plate is cut off, and it's an RBI triple for Brylan West. And, well, there you go. The FIU Panthers are on the board as Quevedo scores all the way from first.
And Dudonis has been rock solid all night. So it's the kind of thing, just don't let compound. You still got the significant lead out there on the scoreboard. They're going to come in and talk about it. Just settle everything down a little bit. Only sitting at 65 pitches thus far, so a long way to go yet in this one.
First pitch in the dirt to Jeff LeQuarrie. LeQuarrie 0 for 2. Flied out to left his first time out, grounded out to shortstop in the third. And he bats with West at third, a run in already in the inning, and one out. As he takes a strike at the letters up and in. And the count 1-1. This is a big moment for Dudonis, his first start of the season, or first appearance as a Wildcat. Trying to fight through a tough inning. We knew the response would come from FIU. Inside corner, strike 2.
Kind of adversity you want to see him really excel at if you're looking at Dudonis essentially challenging for a weekend spot at this point, which I think you could already argue with his performance tonight. Maybe looked at.
And we're going to get a pause in the action. And the offense scored the most runs since 2017. So an immediate turnaround on a Witten, but the only one turning around is Jeff LaQuarrie as he goes back to the dugout after another tremendous curveball from Dudonis.
And if he's got that in his back pocket that he can locate, maybe have it dart inside, especially on left-handed hitters, that's a big time put out pitch.
Now 2 down with a runner on third. First pitch, breaking ball in the dirt. Backstopped by Escobar. This is Ren Guida. Guida 1 for 2, grounded out the third in the first and then singled to lead off the fourth and was left stranded at second. Dudonis, breaking ball, catches the inside corner for strike 1. And you started to see Dylan Dudonis lean on that breaking ball more and more as the evening has gone on.
I think it's gotten better as he's continued to throw it.
He went to the fastball that time, missed it outside 2-1. And the velocity on the fastball from the third to the fifth is noticeably down for Dudonis. 2-1. Breaking ball right down the heart of the plate. 2-2. That one was juicy, but Guida didn't offer at it. 2-2, 2 out. Dudonis trying to limit the damage. Shot toward third, and it gets by the diving glove of and it is 5-2.
Yeah, and as soon as FIU has stopped popping those balls up, hitting those long fly balls, as soon as they've started putting it on the ground, putting it through the infield, into the corners, that's when they've started to have success. As we saw Dudonis get hit pretty hard in those early couple innings, it just was always to an outfielder, so gotta be on the lookout here. Still no activity in that BCU pen, so they trust Dudonis, especially with the 3-point lead, 3-run lead, excuse me.
And that one, first pitch comes in and hits Armando Becerra. And now there's 2 aboard with 2 outs. And now here's going to bring the BCU coaching staff out. It is not Coach Hernandez.
Yeah, pitching coach Joel Sanchez going to come out and have a talk with his guy, calm everything down.
And now we do have somebody starting to warm up now in the BCU pen down the first base line. Wildcats will be back in action on Friday as they take a trip to the west coast of the state for a 3-game set with the Florida Gulf Coast Eagles. That should really be a good test for this ball club early in the season.
Yeah, FGCU has really solidified itself in a pretty crowded Atlantic Sun baseball conference as one of the premier programs. They were here 2 years ago at the Jack for, I believe it was also the second weekend of the season, and just pounded the ball. We're I believe in double-digit runs all weekend. Just couldn't be stopped at the plate. They're a really solid offensive ball club.
Here's Alex Ulloa now, 2 on, 2 out for him. Grounded out in the second, singled in the fourth, and was stranded on first. The Wildcats have seen a 5-2 lead, 5-0 lead rather, slip away, and it's now 5-2. Wildcats only have 3 hits in the ball game. That one tipped off the bat and fouled away into the BCU bullpen. The offense for the Wildcats have done what it needs to for the Wildcats so far, taking advantage of some defensive miscues. While FIU's just plain old hit the ball. That one chopped foul first base side. And it's 0-2. You think we see Dudonis go back to the curveball here?
We'll see how much trust he has in the pitch. Not hurting you too much up 0-2, so I would probably throw it again here.
0-2, 2 out, 2 on. Wildcats trying to get out of the inning. He does go to the curveball, but misses it up and in. Week from tomorrow, the Wildcats will be at Florida up in Gainesville, and then home for a 3-game set with Northwestern of the Big Ten. 1-2. Breaking ball chopped towards short. Fielded by Cordova. He goes to third for the force, and the inning is over. 2 runs, 3 hits, 2 left, and the Panthers close the gap. It's 5-2 here at the Jacks. We go to the bottom of the 5th, right here on the CatEye Network. Bottom of the 5th at the Jack. And Bishop still on the hill for FIU after giving up 2 in the 4th. And he will face Garrett Chun to begin the 5th inning. And midweekers, especially when we're not even into conference play yet, always a little awkward early in the season on pitching staffs. It's about finding out what guys you have in the bullpen, but also saving arms for those midweek contests. First, there's a strike, and it's 1-1.
Especially early in the season, it's a lot of guys, who's going to prove themselves? Who wants a weekend spot? Who wants to factor in the conversation?
Low and inside, 2-1. And over a long 40-plus game season, that rotation and top of the bullpen will change drastically, especially in the first, I'd say, month and a half before conference play really gets going. Although conference play for the Wildcats comes pretty early. First conference series, March 15th. 3-1. In the dirt, ball forward for the 2nd inning in a row. Bishop has walked the first batter.
I can't imagine Bishop's leash is that much longer. He can't keep that ball out of, really the right-handed batter's box is where he's pretty much been living the entire time he's been on the mound. His strike calls have been rare.
Here's Jorge Gonzalez-Febos, struck out of the 1st, flied out in the 3rd. Trying to collect his 2nd hit of his BCU career. First pitch to him. And it hit him. And so he's on base for the 2nd time in his BCU career, but that one via the hit by pitch. And for the 3rd straight inning, the Wildcats have put 2 on via the free pass.
Yeah, it looks like righty Cameron Knox in the pen. Only a matter of time if we don't see the call right here. Bishop, unfortunately, just really hasn't given the Wildcats much, if anything, to think about. This may just be kind of a prolonging the warm-up over there.
And the 2 runs he did give up were unearned because of the error on West at 3rd. But it doesn't make it any better, right? He's walked 4 of the 6 guys that he's faced so far.
Just with already, you don't want to overextend your bullpen too much on these midweek games.
Wildcats have some motion over there in the pen.
You could It's Dylan Vega from down there for BCU.
Coach Sanchez is going to walk down there and talk to him as the runners for the Wildcats will come back in to conference with Coach Hernandez on the sideline. We will see a new pitcher. That's the end for Bishop. He goes an inning of work, walks 4, gives up 2 unearned runs, and in comes the new FIU pitcher. Cameron Knox, the senior from Mount Lebanon, Pennsylvania, and the transfer from Fordham of the A-10. 2 seasons at Fordham, and then last year at FIU, 18 appearances with 1 start, 3 wins, 31 strikeouts in 34 1/3 innings pitched. He was 3-3 with a 6.75 ERA and 1 save, so he was a utility guy out of the bullpen. Came in early, came in late, got a start as well. So he's been there, done that, as opposed to someone who's brand new at this level like Bishop.
I don't think that's a bad idea. From that whole idea is getting a guy in and just calm things down. Who's seen all sides of it, so experienced enough to come in and settle down when this game is still very much in winnable position if you're FIU, especially with the BCU bullpen starting to get loose. Never know what could happen when you get down to that point in the game, but just trying to keep the Panthers within striking distance here. Going to do that by not walking guys.
Yeah, and just from watching him warm up, although you can't really take much from that, looks to be primarily more of a fastball pitcher than a breaking ball pitcher. He's a righty, which will give the Wildcats a different look than the lefty Bishop. Originally from Mount Lebanon, Pennsylvania is Knox. And has played some collegiate summer ball for the Allegheny Pirates up that way. Collegiate summer ball, of course, such a big part of the college baseball experience. And the first batter to face Knox is Jose Gonzalez, who walked and scored in the second. With 2 on and nobody out here in the 5th. And the Wildcats threaten again. That one right down the middle, and it's 0-1. Score is 5-2. Wildcats on top here in the bottom of the 5th. Looking to push some more across. Gonzalez smacks this one just foul down the third base line. West looked like he was in a decent position to cover it if it had gone fair, and he's behind 0-2. Gonzalez watches strike 3 right down the middle, and there's 1 out.
Still being very conservative there in that at bat, especially after the last guy on the mound. But now's the time. Maybe you attack a little bit and try to push some more runs across, give that bullpen some cushion.
Here's Manny Sufrain, walked and scored in the second, grounded out to first in the third. 2 on, 1 out, fouls this one into the St. Johns River. That one's not coming back. We did mention how few balls that are hit out of the stadium are ever recovered. You got the road on one side and the river on the other side. Spin and a throw back to second. That ball almost gets away, and it does. Off the glove of Ulloa and into center field, and the runners will advance.
Kind of another interesting play there. FIU has just been off a beat defensively all night tonight. Went from maybe thinking they had Chun to kind of a low spin over, late decision to throw, and then kind of just airmails it.
And Ulloa stretched that glove across his body. He is a lefty playing shortstop. You don't often see lefties playing on the left side of the infield.
Yeah, usually if you do, that means they've got a really great bat and some really great instincts to go along with that.
And that one just thrown to the wrong side of his body. Now, I mean, we're playing hypotheticals here. For Yoa's right-handed, that ball's probably right in his mitt. But since he has to stretch across his body to try and make that play, it hits off his hand and goes to center field.
Yeah, I think the only hypothetical for FIU is if hypothetically your defense is shored up a little bit tonight, you're probably a lot closer to being in this ball game.
Well, now it's a potential 2 RBI single for Manny Soufrane with second and third and 1 down. Knox deals. Strike outside corner tailing away, and it's 0-2. Wildcat bench gets loud trying to boost up Soufrane. 0-2, rocketed back up the middle. There's a base hit. Rounding third and coming home is Chun. Also coming home is Gonzalez, and he scores. It's a 2 RBI single for Manny Soufrane, and the Wildcats lead it 7-2.
And that's why I think all last weekend and even earlier into tonight, you've seen the whole approach to Soufrane from the mound has been keep everything away, because, man, when he gets a pitch to hit, he smoked that ball right back up the middle and gave the Wildcats just a little bit of insurance.
Chun scores, Gonzalez Febo scores, and the Wildcats, dare I say it, have probably had their best offensive output of the season so far tonight. Yes, they scored 12 in one game and 7 in another against Stonehill, but as Coach Hernandez likes to say, they chased the starter, they got to the bullpen, and they've worked from there.
It's a really basic formula, but we've seen it work time and time again.
Bunt foul straight back from Sergio Rivera with now 1 on and 1 out. Rivera down 0-2. It was a weird piece of backspin from Rivera. It looked like off his bat the ball was going to go straight forward on the bunt and then just spun the other way when it hit the ground.
Yeah, kind of got in the way of the official. Thought it bounced off his shoulder for a second.
0-2. Catcher sets up outside, and the frame job by Medina is perfect, and it's a second strikeout looking for Knox. So Knox, around 2 strikeouts looking, has given up an RBI single. And now we'll see Ramses Cordova, who has an RBI single in the second, walked and scored in the fourth. And if the Wildcats can't find any of the offensive form that they had late last season, early on, this could be a dangerous team at the plate this year. 2 outs, runner on first. First pitch to Cordova is a fastball down the middle, hit in the air to shallow right. On the run, LaQuarrie makes the catch, and that ends the inning. But 2 runs on a hit and 1 left. Walks coming back to bite FIU again, and we go to the 6th. The Wildcats have increased their lead back to 5. It's 7-2. Sixth inning we go, and it brings a new pitcher for the Maroon and Gold. Dylan Vega on for his second appearance of the season. And he faces Hector Candelas, as the Wildcats have stretched the lead back out to 7-2. First pitch from Vega, fastball strike outside corner to the lefty Candelas, who flew out to left in the second and struck out swinging in the fourth. Next pitch to him was a huge cut and miss on a fastball low. Vega with the 0-2. Comes inside, almost hits him.
Didn't really flinch a lot for a pitch that barely clipped his kneecap.
1-2. Ground ball foul outside of first, and its count holds 1-2. It was a great start for Dylan Dudonis on the mound.
Yeah, only went 5 innings, threw 82 pitches, but allowed the 2 runs, both earned, a walk, 2 strikeouts, allowed 6 hits.
There's a strikeout for Vega, high heat up and away.
It's the kind of bullpen that, you know, Dudonis is going to want them to pick up for him. Come through with his first win here as a Wildcat, but a lot to be excited about by his outing, no doubt. I mean, showed some flash with the off-speed stuff, did a good job of locating the fastball, but really picked it up when it got tough on the base paths.
Fastball in the dirt. First pitch to Ronnie Medina. Medina flew out to left his first time up, and then ended the fourth his second time. The 1-0. Fastball inside corner, strike one. And Vega works so much faster than Dudonis. It gives, even if the styles of pitching is not that different, the speed is a lot quicker. He's maybe taking 10 seconds between pitches.
And he just, with everything he does on the mound, whether it's grabbing some rosin right there, grabbing some dirt, just moves quickly, just up a pace for sure.
Ground ball, left-hand side to the shortstop. Cordova sets and fires, and there's 2 away. Nice play over there by Cordova. We were talking right at the top of the show, we introduced Ramses Cordova at shortstop, that the shortstop tradition for this Wildcats is really not figured out yet. Played a couple of different people there in the first 4 games.
It's been a spot that for a couple years now has been a tough spot to really fill with a day-to-day guy.
First baseman Adrian Figueroa chops this one towards Colton Olison, and he makes the play. 1, 2, 3 go the Panthers, and we go to the bottom of the 6th. Wildcats looking to improve on a 7-2 lead right here on the CatEye Network. To the bottom of the 6th here at the Jack, and the plummeting temperatures has necessitated the heavy jacket has come out here. It's dipping into the upper 40s here at the Jack. It's a cold night for a couple of Florida boys broadcasting some baseball.
We're battling though, don't you forget about that. We're down here battling, we're fighting, we're athletes too.
Irvin Escobar, the first to face Cameron Knox, as he will get his first full inning of work in and start with a strike that cut back into the outside corner of the plate. That's a really tough pitch to hit.
Especially in that spot.
That one comes inside. Olison backs up, and it's 1-1. Olison, one of the greatest success stories of this program, breaking ball slider strike. Correction, this is Irvin Escobar, not Olison. Olison's on deck. 1-2 to Escobar. Outside 2-2. I mean, you can really apply that to Escobar as well. He was completely out of favor, was beat out by George Braceras for most part behind the plate last year and got hot when it mattered most. Off the inside of the bat, and it's misplayed by West at third. Another error for West, and Escobar is safe at first.
And that's another one for West that's kind of an inexcusable play. I mean, it was a tough hop. I think they're going to score that one an error, but not sure. He was kind of waiting for a bounce. It did bounce in a way that looked like it was very easable barehanding or playable at the very least, and just kind of watched it.
Now here's Colton Olison, and he hits one high in the air to right field. The quarry moves over and makes the catch. Well, I can't even tell my Colton Olison story because he swung at the first pitch and now he's out of there, one away.
This is the nature of the sport, unfortunately. I hope you've got some great stories queued up for Figueroa, because
well, Figueroa is trying to write his own story tonight. He's 0 for 3 with a strikeout and 2 flyouts. Ended the fourth with a flyout and led off the game with one as well. And he sandwiched a strikeout in between that. Squares to bunt, pulls it back, and the ball goes upstairs for ball one.
the flyouts for both sides have certainly calmed down since the early stages of the game. I think both sides kind of came together to realize that it probably wasn't the best strategy to get one to fall in with the way the wind continues to rip directly at us from center field.
There's a strike outside corner 1-1. Yeah, the wind has not slowed down at all. And you can't really feel it where we're sitting at ground level back behind the plate, but the flag is
Speak for
stiff.
yourself. Speak for
Straight.
yourself.
The flag is stiff, straight in, and every time the ball goes up in the air, it just holds up. There's a breaking ball strike as Figueroa pulls back the bunt again, and it's 1-2. Appreciate you sticking with us here on a Tuesday night for some Wildcat baseball. 1-2. And Figueroa stays alive with a foul ball. Figueroa over the weekend started all 3 games, had a run on 2 hits, a double and 1 RBI and 1 walk. And that one's a strike 3, and he goes down looking. Wildcats have been put down looking now 4 times today. Correction, 5 times today. And now there's 2 away, and here's Garrett Chun, who is 1 for 2 with a walk and a run scored. Led off the 3rd with a loud double down the first base line, but the Wildcats couldn't bring him in. He eventually was stranded on 3rd. First pitch in the dirt, ball 1. Something that is different this game than the weekend series. The Wildcats have not really looked to steal that much. Runners on or runners on, or they're not really going anywhere. Punched foul. 1-1.
I do think that's maybe been dictated for them by the pace of this game. Haven't really had to. I feel like people underestimate, even in fairly tame temperatures where a lot of people up north are experiencing. It's tough to get out and run when it's cold like this.
Hit, foul, first base side again. He's put 2 consecutive ones on the concourse. And now a strike away from ending the inning, and it would be a pretty clean inning as far as Cameron Knox is concerned. Only the 1 error and the 1 base runner. As Irvin Escobar is still on first. One, 2, lasered back up the middle, and it just gonna hang in the air a little bit too long as Becerra makes the catch, and there are 3 away. No runs, no hits, 1 error, and 1 left. And we go to the 7th inning of play. Wildcats still with a 7-2 lead here on the CatEye Network. Nine-hole hitter Roylan Quevedo leads off for the FIU Panthers. Wildcats up 7-2. As we've hit the 7th frame here tonight. First pitch upstairs and away, ball one from Dylan Vega, who sat the Panthers down 1-2-3 in his first inning of work. There's a strike at the knees, 1-1. The Wildcats have scattered 6 Panther hits. They've only really threatened in the 5th when they scored those 2 runs on 3 hits, and haven't had much since then. Ball low, 2-1.
Vega's the kind of pitcher who never will ever shake off his catcher. It's always fun to watch him work because, man, just so quick.
Fastball right down the middle, 2-2.
You don't really see that a lot. Chris Sale comes to mind as one of the few guys in the major leagues that don't really shake anything off.
Inside, ball 3. And it's disconcerting as a hitter as well, especially if you faced a guy in Dudonis that was slow as molasses. Vega gets Quevedo to punch one foul.
It's really an adjustment period when it comes to catching up to that pace. Just altering your routine in the box a little bit. I'm surprised you don't see guys step out a little longer and maybe prolong getting back into the batter's box.
Fastball upstairs, fouled away. Count holds 3-2. This is very reminiscent of the first at-bat of the game where Brylan West was down 0-2, battled back, eventually got a single. And just like that, it's punched towards short. Cordova across the diamond. And a half a step out is Quevedo. He's a quick one on the base paths, Roylan. He almost beat that out.
Not giving up even in the 7-2 ball game. Plenty of time.
And now here is the aforementioned Brylan West. He is 2 for 3 with a RBI triple in the 5th. And he eventually came around to score on the single by Guida. Led off the game with a base hit. That one he's check swing, foul, 0-2. Led off the game with a base hit, advanced on a wild pitch, but then was stranded by 3 straight pop-outs in the first. And Vega's got him in an 0-2 count. And he forces him to foul it straight back to the screen. There's a ball low, 1-2. Coming up next for FIU, they will head on down to FIU Baseball Stadium back in Miami. As another one foul from West as he stays alive and play the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame for a 4-game set. Friday, Saturday, Saturday, Sunday.
It's 2 straight 4-game weekends for him to start the season. The LIU game, the latter game of the series, was canceled, assuming a rainout of some kind.
Well, I mean, the entire state of Florida was underwater on Sunday, so I'm not surprised. And West gets hit by a pitch. So he is on for the 3rd time. 2 hits and now a hit by pitch. And that brings up Jeff LaQuarrie. LaQuarrie 0 for 3, flied out in the first, grounded out to short in the 3rd, and then struck out in the 5th. His strikeout was actually only the 2nd strikeout the Wildcats had in the game, and was the 2nd and final one for Dylan Dudonis before he left the contest. That one in the dirt. Escobar really good at making sure a lot of those low ones don't get to the backstop.
Here at the Jack, that's so critical because that backstop is enormous.
Fastball upstairs, high in the air, left field, towards the Wildcat bullpen and out of play. Long run for Chun to chase that down, but it eventually hits the top of the clubhouse. The wind starts to pick up a little bit. Still blowing straight in from center. Usually the wind here kind of swirls. Sometimes it'll go out to left, sometimes it'll go out to right. It's rare that it comes straight in like this, and it's been constant all night long. 1-1. Ground ball first base side. Nice snag by Soufrain. He goes to second for 1. Back to first. Not in time, but it's still a very heads-up play by Manny Soufrain to get the lead runner.
Soufrain has just been outstanding over at first base. His instincts have been great. His pick plays have been great. Very quickly looking like the guy over there at that spot.
That was an athletic play, too. Caught it at the height of his jump, turned and fired it to Olison over at second.
I'd say sneaky athletic, but that always kind of feels like a underhanded compliment.
First pitch, a fastball strike outside corner to Ryan Guida. Guida is 2 for 3 with 2 singles. Had an RBI back in the 5th, but unfortunately was caught going 6-5. That ended that 5th inning, and a promising one for FIU at that. That was back when the game was only 5-2.
VCU has done a really great job. I think the name of the entire night defensively has been limiting damage, because they've given plenty of opportunities as FIU to jump closer, but VCU on the mound especially has limited those.
There's a ball just upstairs the letters. Vega thought he had that one, and he had gotten out of the inning.
Pace has slowed a little bit.
Vega fires the fastball. That one's hammered the other way for a ground ball base hit. And there'll be 2 on with 2 out, and that'll bring up Armando Becerra. Becerra 0 for 2 with a walk, hit by pitch in the 5th. Other than that, he's flied out to center and flied out to right.
The batter, center fielder Armando Becerra.
And Becerra hit one of the many home runs for the Panthers in their opening weekend. Also had 3 runs on 5 hits. Ground ball fouled away into the FIU dugout. Wildcats once again trying to get out of a jam. 2 on, 2 out here in the top of the 7th. Vega rocks and fires. Inside and low. Once again backstopped by Escobar.
Panthers have already stranded 6 on the base paths tonight. Very dangerous chance of making it 8 here, which is just a recipe for disaster on these midweek games especially.
The 1-1 is low again, as we've got somebody out there in the BCU bullpen starting to stretch and get warm. Nothing really serious yet, but Vega, who's shown brightly for an inning and a half, maybe starting to lose the grip a little bit out there. 2-1, breaking ball, strike 2. And now the Wildcat dugout will get loud and try and get behind their pitcher to get out of the jam. Grounded to first. Soufrain has it fly out of his glove as he tried to pick it, and everybody's safe. First error of the night on the Wildcats. And we go again with the bases juiced.
We'll see how they score it down there. That was a really tough play. I think that's the only way you can really make that play is the scoop. They do credit it as an error on Soufrain, but
I'm not sure how you could call it any other way. The ball was in his glove, and then when he tried to scoop it, it flew out of his glove. And now here we go. Alex Ulloa in at the plate, and he takes the curveball down the line and right. It is a fair ball into the corner. 1 run scores, 2 run score. Here comes the quarry all the way from first to go back to third. Have a nice throw from Rivera, keeps it in, but it is a 2-run double. And it is 7-4. Here comes FIU. You knew they weren't going to go away.
yeah, Becerra just about fell over trying to round his way to home. I think Vega has suffered a little bit when he hasn't been able to go to his same pacing when there's guys on base, so he's checking over at the runner on first or the runner on second, or just overall he's been a little bit slower. And I don't think his location, I don't think his stuff has been quite as good when he's not able to kind of get into that quick pitch pace that we saw him start out and have so much success for early.
Coach Sanchez gonna go out and talk to Vega. We do have someone warming up in the BCU bullpen now. It is Jeffrey Gonzalez, who had a short stint in relief on Saturday.
Struggled a little bit with control over the weekend. So certainly not the kind of spot you want to put him in. Prefer to go with the clean inning. But I also wonder with Vega how much more he would succeed if we got back in a clean inning scenario. Of course, up near 40 pitches now, Knight's probably done, but I think we kind of saw a pretty drastic difference in the arm he was when guys were on base versus when paths were clean. We'll see how he rebounds here. Still has a chance to finish off.
Here's Hector Candelas, 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts, but now second and third with 2 down, and a chance to bring the Panthers within 1. After the 2-run double by Alex Ulloa. Breaking ball foul. Oh, in the inning, Quevedo led off and grounded out the shortstop. West was hit by a pitch and then was called out 1-4 on a fielder's choice that allowed DeQuarrie to go to first. Then Guida singled. Then Becerra reached on an error where everybody was safe. Big tomahawk swing and miss, and it's 0-2. Then the bases were loaded, and Ulloa drove everybody home. Well, drove DeQuarrie and Guida home with a double down the first base line into the corner. Cut on and fouled away. Candela stays alive. Oh, 2. Outside looking for the call, but it's 1-2. Vega quickly into the stretch. Comes downstairs, bounces it to the plate, and it's 2-2. Is there such a thing as maybe working too quickly in this situation?
I still think, and it's tough to gauge, I still think he's a step behind what he was when he originally started. I mean, he takes a little bit longer to check down at his glove, ball position, get into his position.
Breaking ball rocketed towards second. Olesen fields, fires in time. And the Wildcats will head back to the dugout. 2 runs, 2 hits, 2 left, and an error as well. And the Wildcats lead is down to 7-4. We go to the bottom of the 7th next here on the CatEye Network. Bottom 7 we go. Wildcats still have work to do as they've seen their lead trimmed to 7-4. And Jorge Gonzalez Febo leads off. Febo struck out in the first, flew out in the third, was hit by a pitch, and then scored in the 5th. And the first pitch is a breaking ball low from Cameron Knox. Punched towards the first base line. Little bobble, and then the throw is over the head of Knox, who is covering first by Figueroa. It's another fielding error, and the Wildcats have a runner on.
That's the 4th one of the night for the Panthers. It has been a battle out there at times, and it's been all across the diamond, really. I mean, we saw earlier in the contest. West had a couple of them himself, but there's really been nobody that hasn't had some share of blame in their defensive struggles on the infield here tonight. And the Panthers are going to easily look back on this as the reason that it all went south if the score holds as it is now.
Yep, here is Jose Gonzalez. Walked and scored in the second. Grounded out to first in the third, and then singled. There's a strike on a breaking ball. Singled in the fifth. Was an RBI single that scored Chun and Gonzalez-Febo, and he was stranded there. That one from Knox didn't break as much as he wanted to. Knox has always been great out of the bullpen. As a freshman at Fordham, he had a .592 ERA. And a couple of scoreless outings as well. That's a big old chase from Gonzalez to count 1-2. Knox is 1-2. Breaking ball hit high in the air. First base side, that will go out of play. Hit the non-existent roof of the seated side here at the Jack.
Yeah, we saw the crew out here today doing some painting of kind of the beams that would hold up the roof, or lack of, going from green to a gray. Be plenty more work to come in the coming weeks.
Ball just outside. Tough pitch to lay off of if you're Gonzalez, but he's still alive 2-2. The start of a multi-million-dollar renovation project here at the Jack that will keep the Daytona Tortugas here for another 8 years. Knox nods and fires. Upstairs, 3-2. And really, when the Panthers have been scored on, it's been the walks in combination with the errors. They haven't given up a lot of hits, only 5.
Yeah, BCU has done what you're supposed to do, which is take advantage when opportunities and the errors or walks are given to you.
That one's a big old chase. Throw down to second to try and get the stealer. And Febo is safe as the ball goes into center field, but Gonzalez strikes out, and there's one away.
Nice job by Quevedo there to keep that ball from sailing further out into center. You could have saw another little bit of disaster right there for the Panthers. Just been sloppy. It could be the cold. It could be early season jitters still working their way out, a combination of factors, but a lot to tighten up.
Manny Sufrain lays off a breaking ball low 1-0. Sufrain walked and scored in the second, grounded out to first in the third, and then had a 2 RBI single in the fifth that gave the Wildcats their 6th and 7th runs. Big cut and miss at a fastball downstairs, 1-1. Now Knox, maybe feeding off the energy of Dylan Vega, has picked up the pace a little bit this inning. Maybe everybody just wants to go home as the temperature down into the 40s. Outside, 2-1.
You know, I certainly do. I don't know if I speak for everybody on this broadcast table, but I have had my fill tonight if we would like to speed things up and go home, or at least to my truck where there's air conditioning.
Bounce to the plate, 3-1. You can hear Coach Hernandez over at third saying, let it come to you. Don't chase anything. Knox is 3-1. Just catches the knees, and it's 3-2.
Still consciously, just about every pitch Manny Sufrain has seen this season has been low and away. Surprised he doesn't try to golf one out there.
Low inside, ball 4, and there's 2 on with 1 out as Sufrain has his 2nd walk of the day. That'll bring up Sergio Rivera. Another big spot for Rivera. Rivera 0 for 2 with a walk. He scored in the 4th when he did walk, and then he's flying to left and struck out looking. And the head coach for FIU, Rich Witten, is going out to talk to Cameron Knox as FIU has an arm working down to the bullpen. Could we see a 4th FIU pitcher of the night?
Probably only a matter of time at this point.
I mean, even though it is a midweeker, you've still only got 3 days off between now, or 2 days off really, between now and your next game. So You don't want to use too many arms, especially going into a big series like Notre Dame.
Midweekers are always a fun kind of strategy check for both teams because there is just a lot to equate, especially late in the season when they kind of don't mean a ton. Maybe you settle into a little more of like, here's the rotation of guys that we are willing to let go tonight because we probably won't see them over the weekend regardless.
First pitch, a breaking ball, hammered foul by Rivera. The difference between Knox's breaking ball and fastball maybe is the biggest of any pitcher the Wildcats have faced yet this season. Really takes a lot off of it when he goes for the off speed. Spin it, a throw back to second. Febo is there. Wildcats only have one stolen base tonight by my count, and it was just now when Febo took second. Way outside 1-1, over rotation by Knox. And that's maybe an indication of getting a little bit tired. He is in his third inning of work. Gave up 2 runs that were not his own in the 5th. That one's way outside again, 2-1. But he's been pretty good since then. Only he hasn't allowed a hit. And the only 2 guys that have reached that have been on errors and walks when Knox is on the hill. 2-1. Breaking ball dips into the zone. Low, no, that's low. 3-1. I thought that was right down there.
I thought it was in the middle too.
So did FIU too, as the bench complains. Now the 3-1. That one's a fastball right down the middle. With Rivera taken all the way, count runs full, and here we go. First and second, 1 out. Payoff pitch coming to Rivera. And Rivera swings and laces it foul into the bullpen.
Jumped on it just a little bit too quick. He waits just a little bit on that pitch. That's a gapper, maybe down the line.
Off the bat, I thought, man, that's down the line, and he just pulled it a tad. We'll do the full count delivery again. Wildcats hanging on to a 7-4 lead here in the 7th. Runners go, fouled away. And we'll do it a 32 for the 3rd time as Coach Cartaya goes over to collect that foul ball. Coach Cartaya, of course, a former FIU Panther, both coach and player, playing a lot of his former teammates tonight. Runners go, and the ball hits Rivera on the elbow. You can hear the clack of the elbow protector. And the bases are juiced for Ramses Cordova.
That was very similar to the play in the 9th inning on Saturday where we thought he had taken a hit in a similar spot, but that one was ruled off the nod with a bat. He gets the first base, a little bit harder than a walk would be, but down there nonetheless. FIU in danger here, really letting this one slip away.
Bases juiced for Cordova, and here comes Witten again, and they're going to go call to the bullpen. Cordova singled in the 2nd. That brought home Jose Gonzalez. Walked and scored in the 4th, and then flied out in the 5th.
The right-hander coming in. It's like Bryce Green, number 13 for FIU. Tall task here for him with just 1 out. It's not getting any easier. The Wildcats have done a really good job of continuing to put pressure on every time. It seems like any time they've been able to work a walk, a hit by pitch, or an error, they have capitalized and made it, even if not necessarily into runs, it's been into some long innings, working arms, and getting further and further into that bullpen.
Bryce Green, a junior from Gaithersburg, Maryland, a right-hander standing 6'2". Sidearm delivery. And he is making his first FIU appearance after 2 seasons at Frederick Community College. And so a very similar story to Jaden Bishop, who made his first FIU appearance after coming over from the junior college ranks and quickly let in 4 BCU runs.
Green has a very interesting leg kick. You don't see a lot. Kind of keeps it all the way straight until it's about parallel with his hip, maybe even a little bit higher, and then curls it back into his delivery. Those sidearm guys always difficult to pick up, especially at the collegiate level when you just don't see a lot of them. You don't see a lot of them at any level, but he's got that kind of 3 o'clock, or I guess it's more like 9 o'clock release with him being over there on the right side, but just tough to track down. We see it a lot with Dale Machad for the Wildcats, although he doesn't quite have that low of a release. His is a little higher up.
There's a couple players in the SWAC that I remember from last year that went through the whole sidearm thing. There was somebody from, I forgot if it was Alabama A&M or Mississippi Valley, that went really low, almost down toward his hips to release the ball.
It's not a bad call, I think, if you're FIU, to put in a guy like that, to just give the Wildcats a completely different look than they've seen all day. And as long as you're throwing strikes, it's going to be a difficult one to kind of catch up with quick enough, hopefully, to do any serious damage.
And it's something that you don't see a lot as a hitter, that sidearm release. It comes at you from a different angle. The sliders break a different way. The curveball breaks a slightly different way. Even the fastball doesn't have the same run on it as from a typical overhand pitcher. So it's got to be a quick adjustment for Ramses Cordova. One out, bases juiced. Bottom 7. Wildcats up 7-4, looking to add to it here. Here we go. Bryce Green, his first pitch as an FIU Panther, is a swing and a miss at a fastball, 0-1. Cordova going right after it.
First pitch strike, I think, is really important for Green. The way that this bullpen has gone, a lot of erratic throws. Starting out in the zone is really important.
That one in on the hands, but strike 2. And now Cordova quickly down 0-2 against Green.
And he's attacked him. He's come right at him. Started low and then came up a little towards the letters. Probably see him do it again here.
That one, a garbage pitch in the dirt. Cordova doesn't offer at it, and it's 1-2.
And see, that's a little more, I think, what you expect a lot of times when you're seeing a sidearmer. There's not a lot of guys that can challenge you with a fastball, but when you have a slow breaking ball like that, too, it makes the fastball look a tick faster.
In the dirt again. Great job by Medina behind the plate. Because, again, if that ball gets to the backstop, you've got Febo on third, who's pretty quick. He can get home in a jiffy, and because the backstop is way back here at the Jack, pass ball with a runner on third usually means a run coming in. The 2-2. Cordova waves and misses at a slider that tore away from him.
Completely fooled. You can see by the swing, kind of a looping. Knew he had him, but it was a really well-pitched at-bat, starting off fast, and then slow, and even a little bit slower, I think, with that last pitch there.
Here we go. Irvin Escobar, bases juiced, 2 outs now. Big spot. Fastball down the middle, strike 1. The team MVP from the SWAC tournament last year. Escobar has singled and then reached on 2 errors today. In the dirt, ball gets away, but not far enough for Febo to come home from third. 1-1. We've seen that twice now with Medina having to chase one. If he does let one get by, there might be a play at the plate here. Febo got to be ready on third.
Saw Green was ready to rush in and cover.
1-1 off the end of the bat, foul 1-2, and the Panthers are a strike away from getting out of it.
And Green, to his credit, looks under control on the mound. He's finding the zone when he needs to. He's pitching them away when he needs to, when they're trying to be more conservative. He's not afraid to challenge guys, but he's staying around the zone, and the Wildcats are forced to swing.
The 1-2. Breaking ball in the dirt. Again, a heroic job by Medina to backstop it. 2-2 the count. You got to say Medina's the hero of the inning right now. I would expect another breaking ball that tails away from the righty, Escobar. Here's the pitch. He does go for it, and it's low. 3-2.
Yeah, you can see with 2 strikes, just trying to be super careful. Doesn't want to get beat.
Potentially biggest pitch of the game here. 3-2, 2 outs, bases juiced. Green from the stretch. Outside ball 4. Ball gets to the backstop, but it doesn't matter because it's a walk. Gonzalez Febo trots home from third, and the Wildcats lead at 8-4.
And I think the mistake for Green in that at bat is after challenging Escobar so early, got up in the count and kept going for that swing and miss, swing and miss, swing and miss, trying to get out of it unscathed. That stayed a little too far out of the zone, and towards the end of it, the ball's in the dirt. Didn't give Irvin anything to think about.
Now here we go. Here's Colton Olison. Sufrain on third. Rivera on second. Escobar on first, still 2 down. First pitch. Strike outside corner on the fastball.
Another first pitch strike. He's attacking early. I think he should have continued to attack the zone, especially, as this wind keeps going. Fly balls are going to be tough to get out there. Go at these hitters.
Olison 0 for 3, trying to change that. He pokes it in the air to center. Coming in, Becerra. He can't make the play. It drops in front of him. Sufrain scores. Rivera scores. It is a double. Sliding in safely to second is Colton Olison. 2 more runs for the Wildcats.
And that's the breakthrough I think Olison needed after his rough weekend last weekend. Kind of the beneficiary there of the opposite of what I was trying to say before the pitch. If that ball was hit harder, it probably hangs up a little longer. And then you see Becerra with probably a chance to make the play, but it got kicked down so much that it just falls in no man's land. And just like that, the Wildcats holding on to a double-digit lead.
And once again, FIU complaining about a call. Not sure where Colton Olison is.
Well, he went back to the...
Oh, dugout to take his protectors off. He's out there now. I didn't see him on second for a minute. It concerned me, but Ulloa was very animated that he got Olison out at second.
Well, see, it was also an interesting play that Olison got knocked off of his feet a little bit by Ulloa once he got to the bag. And so I'm not sure if maybe there was a secondary tag that he thinks he should have had.
Top of the order, Figueroa squares the bunt with 2 down. That's an interesting call, and the pitch goes low, 1-0.
And see, I still like the approach from Green in the last at-bat going at Olison like that, because on a day where the wind isn't kicking so much in our face, that's probably a fly ball right to your center fielder.
Ground ball, second base side. Quevedo makes the play. Big stretch by Figueroa, and that ends the inning. 3 runs, 3 hits, no errors, 2 left. And we go to the 8th inning of play. The Wildcats lead it 10-4 here on the CatEye Network.
To it? I don't know.
Dylan Vega still on the hill for the Wildcats as we go to inning number 8. Wildcats have increased the lead again. It is 10-4. Ronnie Medina leads off for FIU. FIU's been poking around, but the Wildcats have just bested them offensively. Vega's first pitch, a strike to Medina. Medina 0 for 3. Flew out in the second. Got the last out of the 4th, and this time he flares one into right center, long run, and making the catch on the run is Figueroa for out number 1.
Yeah, without those insurance runs, I'm not sure if Vega comes back into the game or not, but I think it's already clear that his pace is back up to where he started at. And like I said last time he was on the mound, which seems like an eternity ago now, I think with the bases clear, I think he's a different kind of arm than we see when guys start to fill out the base path.
Here's Figueroa. He is 1 for 3 and then was caught going 4 to 6 in the one time he did get on via the base hit back in the 5th inning. He did. It was a fielder's choice by Quevedo. Count is 1-1, and Vega deals breaking ball, punched foul into the bleachers. Figueroa, the tallest guy on this team at 6'5", towering first baseman. He needed all 6'5" of that to make the last out of the inning, because the throw from the shortstop, or second baseman rather, Quevedo, was a little bit wide. The 2-2. Chopped foul right at home plate. And even Escobar didn't really know where that was until it landed right in front of him. Wildcats chasing their first win against FIU since 2017. Punched right to the shortstop. Cordova makes the play 2 down. Off the bat, that looked like it was going to do the same thing that Olison's RBI double in the last inning did, but it just holed up a bit short. Now here's Royland Quevedo. Quevedo walked in the first and was stranded there. Walked in the third, excuse me, was stranded there. Fielder's choice and scored in the 5th and then grounded out as the first out in the 7th. And he's quickly behind 0-2. Vega trying to get out of the inning. Flashed foul off the end of the bat. Vega quickly into the stretch. Breaking ball doesn't catch the corner. Oh, he thought so. The umpire doesn't agree with him, and we play on. The count's 1-2. He was halfway to the VCU dugout, and he's already back into his windup. Breaking ball slider comes inside 2-2. There it is. Fastball, strike 3 outside corner, reverse K to end the inning for Vega. So Vega's done 3 innings. A 1-2-3, a 2-runner where he had to leave the bases loaded for FIU, and then a 1-2-3. We go to the bottom of the 8th. When we come back, we'll get some scores from around the SWAC right here on the CatEye Network. Garrett Chun leads off the 8th for the Wildcats, who hold a 10-4 lead over Florida International here on the first Tuesday night midweeker of the season. Whoa, look out First pitch from Green goes sailing past Medina into the backstop. Green flirted with a couple of those in the previous inning.
Blows into his hand, trying to warm it up after that. Definitely feeling the effects.
Ground ball toward the shortstop. Ulloa doesn't really have to move. Low throw to first. Nice scoop by Figueroa, one away. Let's get you some scores from elsewhere around the Southwestern Athletic Conference.
Just about everybody in action today. Alabama A&M fell to Tennessee Tech 10-zip. That's in Huntsville. They ended that game in 7 after the run rule. Jackson State wins 11-1 over Tougaloo.
First pitch to Fabo, outside ball 1.
We have Troy taking down Florida A&M pretty handily, 13-2. That one was in Tallahassee. Trying to see if we can track down some scores on some others. We have Grambling at UL Monroe, Prairie View at Houston, UAPB at Arkansas State tonight as well.
That one a strike. I will say, Medina behind the plate has done an excellent job tonight, both framing and preventing balls from going to the backstop. Here's Green's 1-1. Breaking ball, big cut and miss from Fabo. As he's still trying to plant that barrel of the orange bat on the ball and send it out of here, which on a night where the wind is whipping in from center field, not really maybe the best of plans. Green causes Medina to sprawl to his right to keep that one going to the backstop. And Green is lucky that there's nobody on base for a couple of these wild pitches. 2-2 to Febo. Fouled away, count holds. Wildcats looking for their first high major midweek win in quite a while. Chopped toward third, and that was in the air. So it's a line out going the way of West. And that's maybe a bit of a confidence booster for West, as he's had a rough go of it tonight. 2 errors on his side, both that plays to first.
Yeah, FIU out hitting the Wildcats 8-6 currently, but those 3 errors, absolutely the difference.
And it's not just been the errors, it's been the walks as well. The Wildcats twice in this game have walked the first 2 batters and 3 times walked the first batter by himself. 0-1 in the dirt, 1-1. It's currently Louisiana Monroe 6, Grambling State 3 in the bottom of the 5th. Get you some more swag out of town scores. Here's the 1-1. Green looking for a quick inning, but he's not going to get it as that one sails behind Gonzalez. Tomorrow, Alabama State in action against Big Brother, Alabama, over in Tuscaloosa. And Texas Southern travels to Texas A&M Corpus Christi. Those are the only Wednesday games in the SWAC.
We don't see a lot of those here with the Wildcats.
The 2-1. There's a strike, 2-2. Wildcats will play a Wednesday one next week against UF, but that might be their only one of the season.
It is their only one. You see a lot of programs do a lot of Tuesday and Wednesday just about every week, but Coach Hernandez has pretty much stayed away from that, just to the Tuesdays.
Strike 3 called, and down 1, 2, 3 go the Wildcats, as Gonzalez has struck out 3 times tonight. Not a banner day for Jose. And the Wildcats will go to the 9th, leading 3 outs to see off FIU. They lead at 10-4 right here on the CatEye Network. We head to the ninth inning. Wildcats needing 3 outs to see off the challenge from FIU tonight. They lead at 10-4. New pitcher for Bethune-Cookman is Jeffrey Gonzalez, the junior out of Treasure Coast High School and Indian River State College, making his second appearance of the season. Played in the finale against Stonehill and is actually credited with the loss in that one. He's responsible for 2 base runners via the walk. Faced 3 batters, struck out 1, walked 2, and got pulled immediately. And then the Wildcats went on to lose the game 7-8.
Control is going to be key with a lot of these bullpen arms for the Wildcats. It sounds really simple, but there's plenty of stuff to go around. You got some guys in the back end of this bullpen. Gonzalez is one of them who can, touch the mid-90s. Got some decent breaking stuff, but none of it matters if you can't stay in the zone.
Brylan West leads off. First pitch, a fastball in there for strike 1.
Now's a good opportunity to just attack hitters. You've got a lead. Your defense has been working all night. No sense in nibbling at this point.
He does go right after West, and West pokes it foul. West, the reigning Conference USA Hitter of the Week, the redshirt junior out of Tampa, and the transfer from South Florida State. Down 0-2, though. And it's hit off the end of the bat into center field. Charging in and not getting there is Figueroa, and it's another base hit for West. West has 3 hits and a hit by pitch tonight. And his only out was he flying to center in the third. He has lived up to every bit of the hype, averaging .833 coming in. 8 runs on 10 hits, 3 doubles, 2 homers, 9 RBI in the first 3 games of the season.
And that one was off a nice breaking ball.
Gonzalez bounces one to the plate as Jeff LaQuarrie stands in. LaQuarrie, his only reach of the day was a fielder's choice in the 7th. He did come around to score on the double by Ulloa, another low one, and it's 2-0.
Closer Pablo Torres is over there getting warm. It's clear that no matter how out of reach it might seem, Wildcats definitely want this game.
This would be big for the trajectory of the program, right? We didn't get one of these midweekers. We got one against Stetson, but we didn't win a high major midweeker last year. To get one in the first attempt in 2024 would be huge, especially after dropping a game on Saturday to Stonehill that, looking back on it, you really think the Wildcats should have won that one.
Especially against a team that's, taken the Wildcats down 10 straight times. That does mean something, even to guys who haven't been a part of the program.
Fastball strike at the knees, 2-1.
Stetson, in many ways, is a program that is at or near the level of Bethune-Cookman. So it isn't really looked at as kind of that prize to win.
But any time you can take a midweek game, even at home, it's important because, yes, the midweekers don't count in the conference standings. Here's the 2-2. Fly ball, foul, third base side. If it comes down to, a couple of out-of-conference wins here or there, maybe getting you an at-large bid in the NCAA tournament come down the end of the season, every one of these counts. Here's a 2-2 from Gonzalez way upstairs, 3-2.
And many of these games, even just against FIU, you can look at midweekers as a whole, but there's some lopsided decisions there. There's 12-2, 7-1, 9-4, 6-1, 9-2. That's all just since the last time that we've taken down this program.
LaQuarrie pops it up on the infield. Who's going to claim it? Fabo claims it, and there's one away.
Gonzalez needed that one to see that one fall, a little bit of a confidence boost.
Fabo goes over and hands Gonzalez the ball, taps him on the back, and says, "You got this." And he'll have to face Ryan Guida. Guida, 3 for 4 with 3 singles and a run scored. His only time not getting on base today was in the first inning. He grounded out to third base. First pitch. Fastball misses inside, 1-0. couple of interesting chirps from the Wildcat bullpen. There's a fastball strike down the middle, 1-1. It's interesting being at field level to do these broadcasts. We're usually way up in the press box. Can't really hear what's being said on the field.
Yeah, but we are warm usually.
That
I
is
do
true.
appreciate that.
Bounce to the plate. Escobar keeps it from going to the backstop, 2-1.
Hopefully we can get some games on the air for softball this season. You'll see a similar booth that's right down at field level because that's all Sunnyland has to offer. Still working out some logistics on that, but we're hoping to be able to put that together.
Fastball fouled away, 2-2. I think it's important for Gonzalez is to keep pounding the zone, keep attacking the hitters, let the defense do the job.
No reason to get cute, no reason to try to go for the strikeouts. You're not going to build confidence when all you're doing is throwing balls. That wind's got your back, too.
2-2 to Guida. Breaking ball, strike three, punched him out looking. And the Wildcats are an out away.
I think Guida was looking fastball there, and instead of getting one that stayed up high, instead laid a breaking ball that dropped right down the middle, frozen.
Armando Becerra is the last chance for FIU to stay alive in the ball game. He flew out in the first, flew out in the fourth. Hit by pitch and stranded on first in the fifth. Reached on an error and then was stranded on third in the seventh. That was the last time that FIU put runs on the board. In that seventh inning where Dylan Vega was on the mound, we thought everything might just go pear-shaped, and then he worked out of a bases-loaded jam, only giving up 2 runs, and then the Wildcats plated 3 more. 1-0. Fastball outside corner, 1-1. That is a long drive back to Miami for FIU. If they can't mount something here. The 1-1 golfed foul, left-hand side out of play. And the Wildcats are a strike away. And if you're Gonzalez, do you go back to the breaking ball and try and get another strikeout here?
I'd probably stick with the fastball. I'd probably try to elevate it, go at the hitter. If he makes you pay for it, there's only so much you can do at this point in the game.
1-2. All low, and it's 2-2.
Did stick with the fastball. Might have held on to it a little long, might have released it a little late.
Trying to get Becerra to chase. Becerra has a homer and 4 RBI so far this season. This is not an FIU team that lacks for power, but the elements have been against power hitters today. Once again, the 2-2. Came inside and hit him on the foot. And the game continues, and now it's 2 on, 2 out.
But now really all you're pitching for is self-confidence at this point. I mean, if anything gets too out of hand, Pablo Torres is over there in the bullpen waiting for the call over. But there's, you know, a strikeout looks pretty enough, but no reason you shouldn't go right at him. Fastballs, pick your spots.
Here's Alex Ulloa, who had the biggest hit of the game for FIU back in the 7th. The 2 RBI double down the first base line. Takes a first pitch strike up and in. He doesn't agree with it. Gonzalez comes home with it. Swinging a pop-up, shallow center. Olesen goes back, waves his hands, and squeezes it. This one belongs to the maroon and gold. They take down FIU for the first time in 10 tries, and they win it 10-4.
And midweeker or not, make no mistake about it, this is a big win for the program. It's a huge confidence boost after a really tough loss on Saturday. And a lot went right for this Wildcats team tonight. Make no mistake about it. There were some really fortunate errors, some fortunate bounces here and there that led to the win. But they earned this. I mean, there was some timely hitting, and I think the key for the Wildcats tonight was when they were given opportunities to succeed, whether it's via the error, whether it's on the walks, which were huge for the Wildcats tonight, they absolutely made the Panthers pay for it. They didn't let up at any point. They had some timely insurance runs, and I think we saw some really great pitching performances. Obviously, Dudonez is a great spot to start. We'll see if we how much, if any, his role expands even already after such a nice outing tonight. Vega came in, was a really solid presence, worked out of a jam, and really settled things down. And overall, just a complete win in a lot of ways. You know, you get the benefits of the errors, you get the benefits of some things here or there, but make no mistake about it, the Wildcats won this game tonight. It's a high major win for the program, and should provide a lot of confidence going into a big weekend series against Florida Gulf Coast.
Wildcats win it. 10 runs on 6 hits, 1 error for Bethune-Cookman. 4 runs on 9 hits and 3 errors for FIU. So just like the Skyhawks series over the weekend, Bryce, we were out-hit by the opposition. But again, the timely hitting, the taking advantage of errors, the taking advantage of walks and hit-by pitches from Florida International was the key.
I think the key in a lot of ways on midweeks in general is you just look at the walk discrepancy. The Wildcats walked 7 times tonight. They only gave up 1 walk. And that's a big deal in games like this when it's a lot of, especially on a night like this that was such a grindy offensive night. We saw the strategy early on was a lot of long fly balls, and that quickly did not work out for either side, and they abandoned that, and you had to go to the walks, to working long counts, and for the singles to make stuff happen.
We are waiting for Coach Johnny Hernandez to come out and talk to us here on the postgame report. The Wildcats winners tonight, 10-4 over FIU. The win goes to Dylan Dodonis, his first as a Wildcat. He went 5 innings with 82 pitches, allowed 6 hits, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts, and 2 runs. The loss goes to Richie Pena. He is 0-1. He only pitched the first 3 innings, 44 pitches, allowed 3 runs on 3 hits, walked 2, and struck out 3. And Coach Hernandez, every time we talk to him, preaches chasing starters, especially at the college level, at the low to mid-major college level like Bethune-Cookman is at. The bullpens can be suspect sometimes. We saw it again tonight. They got to the starter, chased him after 3 1/3, and they just ran away from there.
Yeah, you know, we're starting to see the overall offensive philosophy from new hitting coach Derek Cartaya just continue to come together game by game, pitch by pitch with guys at the plate. I think you've seen a clear departure from last year, at the very least at the beginning of the year when a lot of guys were attacking very early. Of course, if the opportunity arises, there's certainly some first pitch swingings, but guys are being very patient, and they're really letting the walks provide that offensive spark before feeling like they need to make something happen themselves.
Yeah. FIU goes home, licks their wounds, and will play a 4 spot against Notre Dame Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The Wildcats go on the road as they play fellow Florida school, Florida Gulf Coast University. And that's going to be a big test. First road series of the season for the Wildcats. First, couple days away from home over a weekend, and playing a team with a lot of offensive firepower in a league. Well, they'll see a couple of teams from the A-Sun this year: Stetson, Jacksonville, and now FGCU.
Yeah, the Wildcats have seen their fair share of Atlantic Sun programs for the last handful of years. Mostly just proximity based. The Gulf Coast hasn't checked in here in a couple of years, but the Atlantic Sun, you see it mid-major to mid-major. The Atlantic Sun is a fantastic mid-major baseball conference. Probably in its good years has a chance to argue that it's one of the premier mid-major baseball conferences in the country, because when teams like Stetson are going, Florida Gulf Coast, Jacksonville has been outstanding. Lipscomb has provided some
Central
really
Arkansas
strong
over the past couple of years made the tournament a couple times.
Absolutely, and of course when Liberty was here, you're talking about a whole different conference before they moved on. But it's going to be a big test. This is a program that if you are the Wildcats, you should look at as a chance to really contend with, really compete with, put a strong product on the field, but focus on those fundamentals that we've worked on tonight and over the whole weekend.
We will hear from Coach Hernandez shortly. Once again, your final score tonight: Bethune-Cookman 10, FIU 4. The win goes to Dylan Dodonis. He's 1-0. The loss goes to Richie Pena. He is 0-1. We're now joined by Coach Hernandez. Coach, a banner win for the program, the first high major midweek win in over 2 years. How you feeling after the win tonight?
Not good. The guys played well. I think besides that one defensive, miscue that we had, we played flawless defensively. Pitching was outstanding. And I think we came through in clutch hitting, in situational hitting. So, proud of our guys and just back to work tomorrow.
Yeah, Dylan Dodonis, talk about his body of work tonight. Fantastic. Went 5 full innings, pitched almost 100 pitches, only gave up 2 runs, and really kept you guys in it early on.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we wanted out of him today. We said it in the pregame show that we wanted 4 or 5 innings out of him, and that's exactly what he gave us. He gave us an opportunity for outs. He won the first strike battle. He won the 1-1 counts all day, kept them off balance, and did a really good job throughout the course of the game to give us an opportunity.
You talk about chasing the starters a lot. But that usually applies to your conference opposition, your low major opposition. But tonight you got Pena out of there in 3 innings, and you went to work on the bullpen.
Yeah, and again, right, like they had a 3-game series just like we did. We wanted to get into the bullpen as early as possible today, and it worked out, in our favor. But, again, kudos to the guys. They did an outstanding job. Coach CatEye, Coach Allen, Coach Sanchez came up with a really good game plan for us to, execute, or our players to execute, and, they did a good job.
You took advantage of a lot of favorable spots tonight, the 3 errors by FIU. You also walked 7 times, putting guys on base, especially first and second batters in innings, getting on for walks and hit by pitches. And what advantage does that give you as a hitting staff?
Oh, it's huge, for us. I mean, I knew that coming in that we're going to be physical, right? And we just wanted to apply pressure. That's kind of, something that we're able to do on the offensive side. I mean, I think that, we can hit with the best of them, but our offense is not one-dimensional. We can apply pressure. We can hit the big home run when we need to, the big double when we need to. But at the end of the day, the guys executed, did their job, and just very pleased with the effort of our Wildcats tonight.
Florida Gulf Coast up next, 3-game series on the road against the tough A-Sun opponent. Quick preview of that series because we won't see it before then.
It's going to be a tough series. Coach Tillett, I have tremendous respect for what he's done in that program. And they just came off a 3-game series. Yeah, they went 0-3, but they were competitive and had the lead in each game against the number 5th ranked, TCU Horned Frogs. So excited to get to Fort Myers, and just kind of see what the Wildcats are going to do against the Eagles from FGCU.
Thank you, Coach, and congrats on the win tonight.
You got it. Hail Wildcats.
Once again, your final score, 10-4. This one belongs to the Maroon and Gold. The Wildcats improved to 3-1. The FIU Panthers dropped their first game of the season. They are also 3-1. For Bryce Hoynowski and into our entire CatEye Network crew here at Jackie Robinson Ballpark, my name is Michael Torello. Thank you for sticking with us through a bit of a cold one here at the Jack. The Wildcats win it 10-4. We'll be back on Saturday here on the CatEye Network for BCU basketball action as they take on Alabama A&M. Until then, have a good night and hail Wildcats.